At the beginning of April, the Hans Niemann documentary on the cheating scandal back in 2022 was released on Netflix. I haven't seen too many people actually talk about it in a YouTube video yet, but in my spare time, watching movies and documentaries is literally all I do. So I thought it would be a fun video idea on the channel to watch along with you guys and give my honest review of the documentary as a whole. I have no idea if I'm actually allowed to do this. I'm pretty sure this video will get demonetized anyway, but I thought it was too fun of a video idea to not do. We'll be looking at all of the key moments. Of course, I can't show actual just lengthy footage of the documentary, so it will be a lot of me pausing and giving my opinion, but I'll try and get as much footage in the video without it being taken down. If you have watched the documentary already, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, but if you haven't, here's what I thought. Why was Liver King there? What the fuck? Are we gonna like stop? What are we doing? Why is this so fast? Slow the hell down. There's a lot happening, bro. This is like the most important part. Surely this is an intro, right? I assume this is all an intro. I assume that it's all an intro, right? Because this is way too fast. They're not slowing down. They're just telling the whole story. I assume they're gonna loop it back around to it, right?
You ever used anal beads while playing chess?
There's no way, bro. That's what you get out of this. I hate when people use that angle, bro. It's so cringe. Like, this is an interesting story about, like, Hans's career being made extremely difficult because of all of this. And they always just wrap around to the anal beads thing, bro. It's so lame. Like, it's such an interesting story about how he just didn't cheat over the board. And they always, like... It's so unimmersive when they mention that, because it was obviously a joke. It was obviously never serious, but it's just for clicks. Just the inclusion of that has just made this seem like a very unserious documentary. Also, what a terrible name. I was thinking this, Untold Chessmates, that's the best thing that you could think of to name this documentary. Anyone, like, how is anyone gonna know that that's what the documentary is about? This is such an ambiguous title. I assume here is where it slows down, by the way, and that was just the little flashy intro to grab your attention, so, you know, we reset.
It's really a big reason why chess.com has the pawn as the logo, because chess is for the pawns, the pawn potential to move up the board and be whatever you want to be.
What? That's not what it's for. That's the reason that the chess.com logo has a pawn in it, because everyone is a pawn and we can all promote. Shut up, bro.
Think it's a filter.
Did they just put Roblox in the documentary? Did I see that correctly?
We did go from a million.
I don't know what vibe they're going for here. Why does it feel like a circus? Like, is that the point? I feel like they're not taking this documentary very seriously, right? It just feels like a little fun thing that we can get some more attention for, right? I feel like it is a serious story, right? Am I wrong for thinking that this is like a serious story about how a very young, I mean, how old was Hans at the time? Was he like 18? He was a very young chess player, just had the world thrown at him. Maybe it gets more serious later on, but I don't know. It feels like they're taking the piss a bit.
Probably getting close to $1 billion value.
Do you care? Not really. Lie.
I love you and salute.
You're sitting in.
Do they want to pat themselves on the back anymore? Holy.
And Hans was special to us.
Keyword was.
Everyone else was just so boring that I seemed so interesting in contrast.
How is he so smart?
Alright, let's play something slow.
Are they calling Hikaru boring? Wait, was that what that was? That's so funny if they did that.
Very disrespectful.
I like this. I like this a lot. I think this should be like all about Hans though. I don't get why that we be yapping about chess.com. Like, in my opinion, in my mind, the rise of chess.com and how it all started, I don't care. That's not what it's about. This whole situation couldn't be less about that. It's about Hans Niemann. The documentary should be about Hans. This should, like, be all it is. I don't want to hear about chess.com again. I swear to God, if I see Danny Ranch one more time. What? Are they reusing graphics? That was the second time those two graphics have been used in this documentary. That's poor. That's poor from Netflix, bro. When did the budget run out?
And when you win, you can see the pain in another person's eyes.
I don't like how much Danny Ranch is in this. I don't know if that's, like, if I'm just being critical for the sake of being critical. He does, in my eyes, he doesn't exist until way later. Like, he shouldn't come into this. Like, he should have been introduced, sure, but, like, let's keep him out of this. There are better experts in the field. There should be other grandmasters in this documentary. That's cool. I don't know if anyone will care about this, but it's cool how When they were playing online, Hans was sat inside a room, but as soon as they start talking about over the board and going outside, you know, the real deal, now he's outside. That's like cool. To me at least.
Absolutely dominating, catapulting my rating up, and with that confidence going forward, crushed every single tournament.
Why do they not show, I mean, I guess maybe for the average person it's boring, but this feels very skipped over, no? I feel like this is like an important rise. Show like at least some of the positions or something, no? Am I crazy for thinking that? That's just like, you just skipped over 400 elo of your life. That probably took him so long to get, so much hard work, and they've just been like, eh, he just gained 400, he gained 100 elo, like, who cares?
I won another tournament right after that in Sweden.
Why are we using this? Also irks me. Why are we using so much stock footage? This is half of this footage has nothing to do with Hans. Like, why do we just cut back to a grainy video of like the place that we're talking about? This happened recently. See what I mean? That wasn't Hans. There was two completely different clips. I'm sure that wasn't Hans. Wait, let me go back really quickly. Look, Hans, he's got like no sleeves on, he's in these shorts, he's got no like, it's just his hair. Who are those people? That's just stock footage. Like, I don't know, man. That's like, maybe most people don't care about it, but that's just so lazy, bro. You couldn't take one more angle, you couldn't get the cameraman out on the water. Like, what are we doing, bro? Come on.
Put them up in a great hotel. Talking about like people who
What? Who cares? Why was that included?
It was one of them
because he's like a significant underdog in every single match, and if he thinks that he can just come here and beat everybody, that seems completely delusional.
I don't know if I get that. Like, I saw that clip before I actually watched, but Magnus acknowledges that he's like a super ambitious player and that he has these like online antics, right? So he acknowledges that like he's kind of just a rage baiter. But he doesn't see that as potential rage bait. I almost guarantee that when this was actually going on, Magnus was like, oh, he's just rage baiting. He doesn't mean that.
Crush the soul of all these guys in this room. Okay, I intend to replace him.
Like, he's smiling there. He's smiling. He obviously understands. It's weird.
Niemann was capable of beating Magnus Carlsen would be laughable.
Would it? Magnus Carlsen has lost to players so much worse. Remember, like, Suleimanov, the guy, was he from Kazakhstan? When Magnus lost to him? Happens, bro. It just happens.
Playing the ratings champion today, how do you prepare for that match?
I had 2 nice smoothies.
But there's nothing about
Like, he's so clearly rage baiting here, bro. Like, is that not obvious?
I've been the best player in the world now for 12 to 13 years.
That's, again, is that not reused footage? Did we not like already say this? I don't know. That's you know what I mean? Like, I'll try not to bring it up again, but they just reuse footage. Like, a good documentary should not have the same line twice. I just realized, do they never shake hands in esports tournaments? I've never even thought about that before. I guess like in every over the board game, they shake hands after the game, and this one they just don't. I never really thought about that. Not that it's important, but
Chess speaks for itself.
Is it something special doing this against Magnus, Hans?
I always wonder, why did he continue talking? Like, he knew, like, look how far away Hans is. He's like halfway down the hallway, but he like continued his line, like Hans was gonna turn around. I don't know, that's funny.
Let's go, Hans Niemann. Guess which side of the camp I sat on.
Why doesn't the other guy talk? What is his name? Eric? He's like had 5 words spoken this entire documentary so far. Danny is just talking for him.
Where you will fight to the very end is that no one ever won by giving up.
You can also tell that it's a pretty cheap documentary because any serious topic, they would recreate it. Like, they would have a little actor that was Hans as a kid, and they would have him going to, like, this place. They would have him going to Hustle, right? So you can already tell, just based on the absence of that the budget for this was, like, relatively low.
I'm trying. This guy's like one of the toughest on the planet.
Like, that's just not interesting to me. He's a grandmaster. He's, like, a top 20 player in the world versus some guy, like, some chess hustler. Like, it's not really an interesting scene to me. It'd be more interesting if he was a kid, right? and they like, obviously they would never know what actually happened, they would never be able to recreate it properly, but it would be nice to visualize. Also, these, like, I get that this is like them trying to do it, like this is Hans actually when he was a kid, but the vertical filming just, it makes it so unimmersive. I don't know if that's an actual word, but you get what I mean, right? It kind of, they've done this a couple of times in the documentary, and I'm like, damn, this is a handheld documentary. Like this one's good. I like this, but when it goes from like a little vertical thing where it's obviously filmed on a phone, and then it skips to some 4K camera where it's an interview, it's a little weird. Also, this whole thing is going on for so long. They've talked about him chest hustling and nothing else. Like, we can scroll back here. It was like here. They've talked about this for like 2 whole minutes, and they've really not talked about anything.
I've overcome so many things to get to where I am today.
That's what that was getting around to. That whole 2.5 minute just nothing was supposed to symbolize that he's gone through so much. Surely there were better ways to show that. What is this clip? I know this is the Sinkfield Cup, but there is no way this is the same year. Look at Hikari, he looks about 5. This is like, maybe to like the average viewer, this is like fine and nobody notices. But this cannot be the same Sinkfield Cup. Am I crazy? This is definitely not the same one, right? It's just lazy. There's no way they couldn't find a clip from the Sinkfield Cup, from the correct one.
Hans Niemann.
Oh, I don't know if you want to have put him in the documentary. I guess they just won't mention him. It's fine.
Got our fun little signs here, and yeah, just out here to show our support.
Did that happen?
Well, there were a couple of.
I didn't know about this.
I did not pay those girls to show up.
Screen, perhaps running away with it.
Heading into the Sinkfield Cup, there was still no real doubt as to
Why did they do that? That wasn't the first day of the Sinkfield Cup they didn't have metal detectors? So that's like, they've not explained that. They're like showing it as if the metal detectors were used on the first day, but they weren't, right? They were only used after Magnus accused Hans of cheating, right? Also, what are these medieval, like, day 3? It's a weird graphic to use.
From the player that I'd known before, I thought he was not that good. And I did not like the situation at all that way.
I don't know. I don't think it's crazy to say that Magnus just underestimated him. He played him once over the board, and he had most of his experience with Hans was probably just online, where he beat Hans pretty easily, right? Because he just has all that experience on him. So, I don't know. I don't think it's crazy to just assume that Magnus heavily underestimated Hans in this game.
truth, because it's just not in our interest to create a scandal. And we're not
Really?
looking for fame and
Really? It's
but
not
the
in your
reality-
interest to create a scandal? Feels like this was very much beneficial to chess.com in the end. I don't know.
Lucky for Hans, I'm gonna help this kid figure this out.
And the way he's gonna help him figure it out is by telling Magnus Carlsen that he cheated online. That's great. You know, when things finally start going good for Hans, I'm gonna backstab him. That's the way I'm gonna help him out.
It's just like, that was the confirmation that I needed. This guy is cheating.
I assume that Magnus is saying, the kind of green light from Danny Wrench was, you know, the confirmation that he needed. What a terrible confirmation is that, right? No proof, just this guy that knows, you know, that he's cheated online before, which Magnus already knew. I think that, you know, Grandmasters would have already known that he was banned for cheating. I'm pretty certain they did. So that was not news to him. The fact that he was caught cheating online. Danny Wrench just blindly said that he thinks he's cheating over the board, and Magnus was like, yep, that's enough for me. What authority does Danny Wrench have for anything over the board? I just don't buy it almost. Like, sue me, but I don't buy it. I just think Magnus is maybe trying to save face a little bit here and blame it on Danny a bit, which it could be the case, but it also seems like he's trying to save face a little bit. Again, what are these stupid day 4? Like, what are we in the Victorian age? This is so unnecessary.
Alejandro, what was the tweet exactly, if you please?
I'm really surprised they didn't cut him out. Alejandro Ramirez is just still in this documentary. They didn't get him out of it. I know he was like a big part of St. Louis Chess Club, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would have tried harder to get rid of him from this. Like, because they didn't mind using XQC clips before, but now they can't show Hikaru saying it instead.
This, person that you
Again, why are we repeating footage? We've seen this already. You showed this video before. You showed it like back here. We've seen this. Why do they keep reusing footage? This is the same documentary. And this is not a long enough documentary. This is only like a 70-minute documentary. You can't be reusing footage this often.
He had no reason to be trusted.
No reason to be trusted? What a terrible thing to say. What a little cretin Danny Wrench is, bro. Not innocent until proven guilty at all? Like, if we can agree that, you know, Hikaru said at the beginning, like, the barrier for entry for cheating over the board is a lot more difficult than online. They're completely two different things. Apparently he had no reason to be trusted. Why would he, right? Let's just assume that his hard work was just all cheating.
Maybe it was anal.
Bro, you don't need to mention that. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's just... They're gonna make this such a big thing now. How long do you think that they talk about this for? Like, really? How long do we actually think that they're gonna talk about this for? I'm gonna count. We're at 47 minutes right now. Let's see what we end up on.
Involved a vibrating sex toy in his rear quarter.
Who the hell is this guy?
I mean, the theory is that basically someone has some anal beads, and obviously I'm no expert at it, but I think
Really, Hikaru? Really?
We had our COVID bump. We had our Queen's Gambit bump. The beads bump was real. Anal beads have been super good. Don't use that.
They are laughing about it, but it was at the expense of, like, a teenager. So, kind of strange. CEO of chess.com, by the way. Yeah, is this the same guy, by the way, that was laughing at Hans Niemann's fucking anal beads? Was the guy that said that he saw Hans like a son, like he was his mentor, that he was always looking out for Hans? Yeah, I do remember watching it. They only showed Hans. Like, they barely showed anyone else getting the metal detector done. They basically only showed Hans. By the way, the anal beads thing went on for like 3 minutes. They talked about it for 3 whole minutes. I guess this is why they can't get rid of Alejandro, because this analysis was so important, and they can't really, if they can't get rid of him for this analysis, they can't get rid of him for the rest, right? Yeah, I think people also fail to realize how many other people Hans's age were just doing the same thing, and nobody cared, right? It was just that Hans was like the first one, and then they really went in on Hans, and then anyone that came after Hans that also happened to have a history of cheating, yeah, we don't care. Right? Like, nobody seems to care that Yavakir Sindarov cheated when he was a kid. And that's because he was a kid, right? It happens. Like, kids make dumb mistakes, especially 16 years old. I was not making the best decisions when I was 16 years old. Like, it's stupid that we expect these young grandmasters to just be clean their entire career. Of course they're gonna cheat. A lot of these players do it. Parham Magzulu is one of them. I think he's a little bit older now, but he cheated. He was banned for cheating. Like, there are a bunch of grandmasters who were just cheating when they were much younger, and nobody cares about them. So, you know, it's definitely double standards.
Would make us look like the big bad guys. It was exactly.
You are. What do you mean? You were just laughing? Sorry, can we cut back to the clip? I'm not gonna do that because I'm editing this video. But the clip of him laughing at Hans Niemann and the whole anal beads thing, when literally earlier on in the documentary, you were claiming to be his mentor and that you saw him like a son, and you're expecting us to now not look at you at the bad guys, when this guy over here, Mr. Angel Eric, was saying that chess.com is almost worth $1 billion. You're the good guys? $1 billion good guys? I don't know about that. You know? You're telling me you're not the bad guys. You're the good guys. We just happen to have come across $1 billion.
I'm kind of like, well, you can be mad that I'm unfair to you now. I was probably too fair to you before, man.
What? Why is he backtracking? What reason does he have to backtrack? He was 16. He was 16. Why is he so angry about a 16-year-old cheating, bro? Like, what if Magnus, what if Hans was your son, Danny? Would you be talking to him like this now on a documentary to the world?
Were the catalyst to a pot that was much closer to boiling than people know.
No, not really. Would we do this to Sindarov? Sindarov was banned for cheating. Would we... Like, the only difference between Sindarov and Hans is that Sindarov is a much more humble person, which is not a dig at Hans at all. But, you know, if Sindarov was a little rage baiter, and was rude to grandmasters and had a little bit of an ego, would the same thing have happened? Like, so we're punishing one person just because of his personality, and we don't punish the other person for the same thing. Like, he's so animated and so upset over this, but he would never say this about Sindarov. And I'm not saying that Sindarov should get this treatment, I'm saying that Han should never have.
We're just looking for objective information, basically.
And our response.
Yeah, but that's like something you do. You know, if Magnus just said, I've withdrawn from the Sinkfield Cup, sorry, whatever, sure. But the fact that he added that little, you know, he was fishing to get to tell people what he actually thought. So it's, you know, any like, you know, oh, I'm gonna do my due diligence and investigate after. No, that you can't say it anymore once you've put out that tweet.
Launched the world's greatest investigation to find out how this little cheating kid.
By the way, back when this actually happened, the anti-cheat was terrible. Really bad. Really bad. Terrible. Like, it was not very good. Like, they're saying all of this, and it might be true now, it's a lot better now, but back in the day, really bad. You could cheat on chess.com very easily.
Every theory, every accusation fell apart.
There's no way chess.com are, like, trying to play the good guys right now. Like, oh, we're the ones, we saved Hans Niemann. No, you're actually the reason that it all started, bro, because you lied to Magnus in the first place. If that is the honest truth, and Magnus wouldn't have made that tweet, you know, without being told things by chess.com, you started this. This is like creating a problem and then acting like the hero when you fixed it. You did this, bro. Yeah, see, that's what I mean exactly. Like, chess.com did not have to do this statistical analysis. They just absolutely did not. So, if the reason I think Magnus is like trying to save face a little bit, or there's the potential, chess.com, why would chess.com try to like buddy up with Magnus and tell him, yeah, we think he's cheating over the board? And then they made this statistical analysis. They could just not release it. They could just say, oh, we've run the numbers, but because there is the discrepancy between time spent playing over the board and time spent playing online, we were inconclusive. They could say, oh, our results were inconclusive. They could say that if they really wanted to buddy up with Magnus Carlsen and feed into his kind of, you know, glazing him and making him like them, they could say it was inconclusive. So, I don't know if I fully believe all of it. It's a little bit weird. It's kind of difficult to understand 100%. I don't like the lack of accountability for anyone here. At least like chess.com kind of alluded to the I don't know. Nobody's really showing any accountability in this documentary, which is lame. Like, it's just like, oh, Magnus's dad is blaming it on chess.com, Magnus is blaming it on chess.com, and chess.com are kind of backpedaling a little bit, saying, oh, it looks like we fucked up. It looks like you did. What do you mean it looks like? You did. You did seriously fuck up.
Suing, you know, everybody and their dog.
Filing reads in
I don't know. Well, everyone and their dog, he kind of just sued the people guilty. No? Like, I think that Magnus, again, this is like shifting blame, not taking accountability. Oh, he's just suing everyone now. No, it's just everyone that was guilty, right?
Conspiracy against one kid, like, maybe he believes this, which I really...
Bro, what is he doing, man? This is just not a good... Why would you agree to this? Like, maybe, like, kids are gonna be watching this and they'll genuinely believe this. I feel like anyone with a brain is watching Magnus Carlsen and chess.com right now and, like, just begging, take some accountability, bro. Just say, like, you know, even if Magnus Carlsen went down this line where he said, oh, I feel like I got gaslit and I'm genuinely remorseful, like, had I known, I wouldn't have said that. Like, sure, but he's not even, like, fully blaming chess.com. He's, like, blaming chess.com, and now he's going back to blaming Hans Niemann. It's so weird.
Even if his friends don't like him. His friends like him.
Wait, what? I don't know if that's true, but...
Like, he's, like, unbearable even to be around. All his friends would be...
Sorry, there's no way that's I mean, he's just rage baiting, but that's funny.
Anal beads while playing.
See, why are we wrapping back around to this? Who, like, I know that the Piers Morgan podcast was, like, a big thing. Also, this lawyer was so weird. I remember him having this lawyer on. Like, get him off the screen, bro. But why are we showing this? It's just not important. It doesn't add anything to the documentary. It's just, like, I don't know. It just doesn't need to be here.
Never thought I'd ask you, Jester.
And especially, there were other points of this interview that were fine. that were actually interesting. Why are we skipping? Why is the only part that we care about in the Piers Morgan Uncensored the anal beads part? It's so weird. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they're just trying to make up time right now. This whole Speedchess Championship thing, when I watched it at least, I did not even think about the kind of, oh, this is the rematch. This is like, they're coming and playing again. Like, I did a little bit, but it was just like, it was over. It was so dead and buried by this point that it didn't matter. And I feel like nobody was really thinking of it in this context. So it's kind of weird that they're like wrapping back around to this as there's 9 minutes left of this documentary. This is like the final thing they're going to touch on. And from my experience of like spectating the whole thing as it happened, this was just the Speedchess Championship. It was just another year. Didn't even really, and because it was obviously never going to be close. And Magnus Carlsen over the board, he has his off days, but when it comes to online, he's so much better than everyone else, and it's not even close. Like, Hans Niemann is a great player, and he has gotten a lot better. But there was just no doubt in anyone's mind that Magnus was going to win this. There was no. And it wasn't, again, it's like if this was an over-the-board tournament, sure, you could say, oh, this is a huge tournament and Magnus is playing Hans, and then everyone would be thinking about it because it's in the same context. This is an online, this is a chess.com event. Like, this is speed chess. This is completely different ballgame. Again, this is that little thing of the chess piece in the middle. They've used that 3 times in this documentary. Like, I hate to nitpick. I know that maybe... do you guys care about stuff like that? It's just so lazy. So, it's not even a budget thing. You couldn't... It'll cost, like, what? Next to nothing to get a photographer to take a couple of extra shots that you can use in between scenes, but you insist on using the same shot 3 times. Like, that's not even a budget thing. That's just you are incredibly lazy.
Grandmaster Hans Niemann.
Again, that like little thing, the little thing where they showed the chessboard, completely doesn't help with the story at all, and they've used it already. They've shown that scene.
Seriously, the guy just got it done in a match. What an incredible...
Damn, thanks for showing us. They showed one game. Jesus, bro, this was really bad. I'm so disappointed. There were parts of it. I think a lot of the interviewing scenes were actually quite good, but the storytelling in this was atrocious.
My entire life and career has been destroyed, and I'll have to live with the fact.
Okay, let's also, like, I agree that Hans has had it very difficult. His life and career has been destroyed. Not really. You still play over the board tournaments, you have a lot of opportunities, you have a great life. You travel to different countries every month. You have money. You have connections. You are great at something. You've got a fantastic life. Let's ruin your life? No, come on. Like, let's be real. I do sympathize with the fact that a lot, like, you know, he probably can't go out in public without people saying certain things about him, and I do understand that a lot, but he does not have a ruined life by any means.
There's the kid who had the beats.
Why do they keep saying it, bro?
Now,
thank God that is over. That is the credits. Oh my God. 5 out of 10. Can I just end the video here? Literally, maybe 5 out of 10. Is that a fair rating for this? I feel like 5 or 6 out of 10. It's not the worst documentary I've seen. I've definitely seen more boring. If I wasn't into chess, this would be the most boring thing I've ever watched. I don't think anyone that's not watched chess will be watching this, or at least sitting through the entirety of it, because it is very boring unless you know chess and you know everything that happened. Yeah, really bad documentary. Didn't like it one bit. I don't think that's even being critical. I wonder what the rating was for it. Let me check really quickly. The critics rated it a 7. There's no way. Somebody paid for that for sure. Okay, it got like a 6.4 on Letterboxd, and it got a 7 on IMDb. And it hasn't really been rated anywhere else. Nobody is really reviewing it. Yeah, I stand by 5 or 6. I think it was quite bad. I've watched a lot of documentaries. I'm gonna leave my Letterboxd in the description below because I feel like people are gonna think that I just watched this documentary and none others. I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of film, and this was by comparison really bad. I hope that, you know, when I do end up editing this, I can keep in all of the things that I found wrong with this. But what was right about this, I think a lot of the cinematography was actually quite good, especially in the interviews. I think the interviews were very good, and the line of questioning was okay as well. I think the storytelling was terrible. I think that all of the little transitional graphics that they showed were bad. They often repeated footage, which I thought was just bad. It was obviously very low budget. And I feel like it just, and not to mention, I mean, maybe I can't tell if like the people in this documentary were just told to be like a little bit unbearable. But you know, if they were told to like, you know, allude to certain things, or if they were allowed to speak the entire truth. But a lot of people in this documentary as well, Danny Wrench, Eric, I don't know his last name even, Magnus Carlsen, Henrik Carlsen. I think that they're not taking accountability for anything that they did in this documentary at all, which you know, I guess that's not the documentary's fault. Kind of makes it a little bit more funny, if anything. But no, I just don't think it was a very good documentary. I think there was a lot of things wrong with it, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you all in the next video.